Really fine. Let us start then. So, a very good morning. Let's start. The first thing that we have about is ethanol blending in petrol. Basically, the biofuel things we are going to talk about. Around more than 100 countries committed to tripling global renewable energy capacity by 2030 at COP28 in Dubai. COP28, Conference of Parties 28. I told you the most important convention we have, UNFCCC on climate change, United Nations Framework on Climate Change. So under that, the 28th meeting is about to happen. In Dubai, it will happen, and there the countries are gonna commit. Why 2030? Because I've told you multiple times, all the targets that we have are for 2030. Be it climate change target, be it disaster risk reduction targets, be it your disaster risk reduction में Sendai framework जो आपका है, the Sendai framework of DRR will expire in 2030. The Paris Agreement will expire in 2030. The SDGs will expire in 2030. So majority of the agreement, including Habitat 3. So these are the four most important conferences. Habitat 3 will also expire in 2030. So this is the upper limit for everything. So that is the news that more than 100 countries are committed to triple global renewable energy capacity by 2030 at COP 28 in Dubai. So what is the background? We need to understand what is this ethanol blending and whatever it is. So ethanol blended petrol. अगर आज आपने vehicle देखे हो, if you buy a new vehicle today, so if you buy new vehicle today, so nowadays on the tank of the new vehicle it is always written E20. अगर आपने कभी नोटिस किया हो ना, न्यू व्हीकल दैट यू बाय टुडे टैंक के ऊपर लिखा होता है E20. दैट बेसिकली मींस इथेनॉल 20 because it has been now mandated. वही हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं. What is that E20 on the vehicle nowadays? So ethanol blended program EBP in India witnessed a significant rise from 1.6 to 11.8. It's a very significant achievement. 2013-14 when the Modi came into power, it was just 1.6. Now it is around 11.8. However, the ambitious goal of achieving 20%. So what is current target? You need to remember, ethanol blending में the current target is 20%. And what we have achieved so far? 11 point. ये भी अच्छा target है, no doubt. We are improving at a fast pace. This target is to be achieved by 2025. तो उम्मीद तो कम है that we will achieve 2025 तक 20% ethanol blending. That's very clear. We need to understand what is ethanol blending, how they are made, what are the issues and remaining things. The issues such as low sugar stock and the anticipated shortfall in sugar production. Now come to the main thing. That was the status. Now come to the main thing. What is this ethanol blending? How it works? Advantage, disadvantage, everything. Ethanol blending in petrol is a sustainable practice involving mixing ethanol. Ethanol is basically derived when you anaerobic decomposition of sugars. पढ़ेंगे aerobic anaerobic science and tech में. Aerobic in the presence of oxygen, anaerobic in the absence of oxygen. तो डिस्ट्रक्शन होता है बिकॉज ऑफ दिस कंपाउंड रखे. जैसे आपकी बॉडी में आपने कई बार नोटिस किया हो, व्हेन यू वर्क टू मच तो एक पैल्पेटिंग सेंसेशन होता है. व्हेन यू वर्क टू मच, यू वॉक टू मच या यू वर्क आउट टू मच, दिस अ पैल्पेटिंग सेंसेशन that happens because your body converts the glucose into lactic acid. That's the production of lactic acid in your body. The compounds breaks into lactic acid. If they break into glucose, it will be energy. If they break into lactic acid, because when you work too hard, now the oxygen becomes less in that part of the body, and because of this, the glucose is unable to make. What instead we produce is lactic acid. That creates that palpating sensation. Of course, it happens with every organism. So what we do is sugar. From this, we are creating kind of ethanol. There are two common standards that we have right now: E10 and E20. 20. Of course, नाम से समझ में आ रहा होगा. E10 means 10% ethanol, 90% petrol. E20 means 20% ethanol, and this one is written nowadays on new vehicles. If you buy new vehicles on the petrol tank, where the inlet of the petrol tank is, it is often written E20. So that E20 means ethanol 20. It means this vehicle has been made suitable for 20% ethanol blending. Whereas generally 20% ethanol blending can be worked with every vehicle, whether old or new, all can work with this blending mechanism. How we produce is, as I told you, we produce ethanol. We produce ethanol through fermentation of sugars by yeast or petrochemical processes like ethylene hydration. So you have to remember these two words, that fermentation of sugar or artificial method like ethylene dehydration we create ethanol. Ethanol is also, I believe, alcohol. इथेनॉल पौवा यही तो होता है मेरे ख्याल में. Of course concentration का फर्क होता है, but ethanol is basically your alcohol. But you may have heard denatured alcohol sometimes. A large number of people drink alcohol, they die. That what happens when you produce ethanol, sometime even methanol is present. Methanol is a smaller form of ethanol. It has with respect to carbon chain. Ethanol mein there are two carbon chain, in methanol there is one. Just remember, methanol is like ethanol in taste, but the problem is when methanol goes into your body, it reacts and it converts into ethanol. Sorry, methanol when goes into your body converts into methanol, and that's जैसे आपने egg देखा है, when you put egg on a pan, it start to coagulate. That's how your cells behave. In the presence of methanol, your cells start to coagulate the same way. जैसे egg को if you broke onto a pan, it start to coagulate and become solid. इसी तरह से your cells start to coagulate. That's what happen when you drink. So ethanol production में sometime methanol can also come. Government intentionally put methanol in industrial ethanol. Intentionally. Why? Otherwise, it will be diverted for drinking purposes. So when government produce ethanol, intentionally it put methanol in that and write down denatured alcohol. The signals that in this alcohol you have not only ethanol, which is basically the alcohol you have everywhere, plus a dangerous compound for your body. Sometimes क्या होता है, people divert from there. अब इतना कौन समझता है, ठीक है. जैसे आजकल आपने सुना होगा ना, कोरोना आ रहा है तो दारू पीना शुरू कर देते हैं, ठीक है. That's different. By drinking alcohol it does not treat corona, ठीक है. Anyway, so now this is most important. Understand generations of biofuel. There are three generations as such. The nurtured होता है, as far as I remember, Shreya. Denatured नहीं होता, nurtured होता है. The second one you wrote. Bioethanol, there are three generations. The first generation, the second, and the third. Fourth भी होती है. What is the difference? Basically, remember, first generation is made from food products, simply stating. Food stocks, maize, corn, sugar, whatever is there, organic compound, that is your first generation. Second generation is basically based on the woods, the straw, grass, or reused component from first generation. And the last generation, that is the third, is algal biomass. All three generations, please remember, the generation one deals with crops which are directly from food crops. Second generation, which is known as advanced biofuels, they do not use food crops. They use either the food crops which have already been used, the waste that we throw out of the kitchen, or they use grass, straw, wood, which is not used for food purposes particularly. Third thing is third generation, as I told you, in which we specifically grow algae in engineering settings. If you have gone to some industry, what we have a big ponds of water artificially created, and in that we grow algae. We literally grow algae, and that can be used also for bioethanol basically. Last is fourth generation. Fourth generation kuch nahi hai, it is third generation plus whatever carbon I produce during making the bioethanol, I will sequestrate that also. तो 3 जनरेशन समझ में आई. पहले में फर्स्ट जनरेशन मींस फूड बेस्ड कमोडिटी यू आर प्रोड्यूसिंग इथेनॉल. सेकंड में यू आर यूजिंग नॉन फूड कमोडिटी और रिफ्यूज फूड. थर्ड में यू आर यूजिंग इंजीनियर्ड एल्गे. Fourth में you're using the any of the three mechanism, particularly the third one, engineered algae. But when you produce engineered algae, of course, you also emit amount of carbon dioxide and other carbon dioxide. बात समझ में आ रहा है? When you produce ethanol, in that process, मान लेते हैं you are using some mechanical machines, you are using some agents. In that process, of course, some amount of carbon will be emitted. So it will not be truly carbon neutral. Fourth generation में I will not only produce algae for I will produce ethanol from algae plus I will sequestrate carbon whatever I have emitted in the process of production. समझ में आया? जैसे एग्जांपल लेते हैं. In the during the process of production you emit 20 tons of carbon dioxide. So what I will do, I will also sequestrate. Sequestrate का मतलब होता है when you take that out of atmosphere and fix somewhere, I will sequestrate 20 ton also. So it will become carbon neutral. Clear है सबको? Now, what are the ethanol blending targets? Let's see. India has initiated ethanol blending program in 2003 to reduce crude oil import, cut carbon emission, and enhance farmers' income. So, three objectives. You know, the one arrow, three targets. What are the three targets? Just say farmers' income. How farmers' income? Because you may have heard something called stubble burning. अभी दिल्ली जो गैस चैम्बर बना हुआ है, it always happens in the winters. Why? Because on the Punjab and Haryana side, they burn the stubble to prepare the land for the next crop. And there is western disturbances. Western disturbances come from the northwest. They bring all that gases toward Delhi. And that's how in every winter Delhi turns out to be a gas chamber. Imagine that's why government is promoting this bioethanol also. Whatever stubble you have left after carrying out the crop, whatever is left, you can give that to a factory. That factory will convert it into ethanol. Okay, if you will burn it, you will produce unnecessary environmental pollution, numerous gases, carbon dioxide, methane, whatever. But if you convert it into bioethanol, you will get some money also from the waste that you will burn anyway. You will get some amount of money. Plus, the environment will be saved. So it's a win-win solution for everyone. That's why it is written. It will lead to increase farmer incomes. It will lead to cut in carbon emission and it will reduce oil imports also. Because as if you remember, 85% of India's energy needs are met by imports, particularly from Middle East. And because of which we are unable to take independent stands in Middle East because of our critical dependence. So the more we will produce in India, the more we will be free from Middle Eastern drama. Clear hai? So these are the three different advantages of having one single thing. Next, you have to remember this policy, national policy on national policy on biofuel came in 2018 and it has a target of 20% ethanol blending in petrol and 5% biodiesel blending in diesel. Means 5% in diesel and 20% in petrol. And the target year is 2030. अभी हमने कितना अचीव किया? Around 11%. ठीक है? हाँ 12 बोल दो, doesn't matter. आसपास कुछ भी बोल दो. In 20 the ethanol blending program achieved a notable milestone, reaching वो हमने बताई दिया. It is now more than 10%. So next target is 20%. Benefits मैंने आपको बताई दिया. It will reduce dependence on non-renewable fuels, of course, because crude and other petrol that you use, of course, is a non-renewable fuel. ये renewable होगा एक प्रकार से. And most important thing, ethanol's oxygen content enhances fuel combustion. It is not only reduce dependence on import, particularly crude oil, also it is more efficient in engine. It can enhance your mileage and efficiency because it has better oxygen content. Because the better oxygen content, it will burn better and it will lead to reduce pollutant like carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. So it has multiple benefits. First, import benefits. So first, in IR, it will make us a bit independent in Middle East. Second, with respect to the environmental pollution of stubble burning and Delhi becoming chamber every winter. and fourth, farmers income. Plus it has, if we, it will bring better efficiency to your engine system also. And also it has high octane. Octane क्या होता है, आप if you have ever filled petrol or whatever in your vehicle, तो आपने देखा होगा पेट्रोल पंप पे somewhere it is written high performance or XP, extra premium, high performance, different names. Basically it is on octane number of the crude oil you are about to use. The petrol that you are having in your vehicle, depending upon its octane number, its performance increase. That extra performance or HP or XP जो होता है, that is often used for heavy vehicles. Heavy vehicle मतलब truck नहीं, fast performance vehicle like sports bike. Sports bike, these kind of vehicle use high performance fuel because they require high amount of energy at a very instant period. Normal vehicle की कोई जरूरत नहीं होती. So they have a high octane number. It means it will burn better. It will provide better conversion efficiency. आपको पता होगा not more than 20% is the conversion efficiency of our internal combustion engines. जो हम पेट्रोल यूज करते हैं, डीजल यूज करते हैं, 20% ही मैकेनिकल कन्वर्ट होता है, रिमेनिंग इज लॉस्ट टू हीट्स. इसलिए योर इंजन गेट टू हॉट. When you drive the vehicle, why engine get hot? Because majority of the heat is converted and radiated out. If it convert into mechanical energy, then of course the engine will never heat up. Clear? So it has that advantage. और बाकी आपको समझ में आ गया होगा. अब issue challenges. What are the issue with current India's policy? Because India is creating, word नहीं लिखा शायद मैंने, India is producing ethanol by first generation biofuel. That's the problem we have. That India is producing ethanol. That's okay. You have achieved the target of 12%, but you are producing it by first generation biofuel that uses food commodities. Means it's a threat to food security. Particularly, government use sugarcane and maize. Second, of course, environmental concern because maize को अगर छोड़ दे, sugarcane, it's a water intensive crop. And we have understood green revolution earlier also. Green revolution mein you put a seed, then you put a lot of fertilizer, and then you do flood irrigation. Because of flood irrigation, what happens? A large amount of fertilizer, pesticide, herbicides that you have put on the crops get seeps into the ground, and thereby it pollutes the ground, it pollutes the surface water. You tap the same source for drinking as well as irrigation, because of which your health also got deteriorated. 70 to 80% of India does not drink drinkable water. It's always polluted. Okay, please remember that. So environmental concern because these are, particularly sugarcane is a water intensive crop. And India mein, since green revolution, the dark blocks are increasing because we are extracting too much water out of ground. Clear? So it's a concern. First concern is food security. Second is environmental concern, most predominantly with respect to groundwater depletion, groundwater pollution, again the remaining eutrophication and other thing. Third problem, that though ethanol reduces emission like carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide, but it does not address nitrous oxide. These are the three most important global greenhouse gases: carbon dioxide, आपका methane, and nitrous oxide. So even though it addresses the two most important one, but it is unable to address the third one, and it has a larger global warming potential. Understand, out of all the greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide has the least global warming potential, but it has the largest amount in atmosphere. The majority of the gases, or the majority of gas that is producing climate change or the global warming is carbon dioxide, but its potential is very less. Nitrous oxide potential is, I think, 20 or 30 times higher than carbon dioxide for global warming. Okay, clear hai? So three issues. What are the three? Let me summarize first. So ethanol. Ethanol is produced by fermentation using yeast or by क्या नाम था जो भी उसका नाम था, that artificial method. And you have three stages or three generation: by food, by non-food, and by algae. Fourth basically means third generation plus carbon neutrality. And advantage, it will lead to better farmer income, better climate tackling, Another, what was the advantage? Better performance of engine, so it will use less fuel and it has high octane number. Disadvantage, food security, environmental concern, particularly because it is based on water intensive crop. And third is, with respect to, it does not deal with nitrous oxide. Clear summary kind of thing. चलिए अब वे फॉरवर्ड वही है जो करना है हमें आगे. ह्यूमन ट्रैफिकिंग. The previous news I think is important in GS paper 3, government intervention in various sectors. GS paper 3 में there is a line, government intervention in various sectors. तो first news उससे related थी. Second news देखते हैं, human trafficking in India, GS paper 3, internal security. Internal security of human trafficking we deal. A few terms I have already told you. There is one term called crime. We all know what is crime. Crime is basically something that is illegal at that point of time and in that society. Because I told you, crime, some crimes can be universally accepted, like murder, rape. Other crimes which do not involve hurt to a body have often changed from time to time. जैसे for example, India में marijuana is illegal, but bhang is legal because bhang is associated with Shivaism and culture of India. Just recently, Thailand has made marijuana legal in small quantities. So it varies which country you live, which society you live. Same thing can be seen as a crime or not. So what is a crime? Remember everyone, crime is anything that is illegal at that point of time in that society. Clear? It may be legal today, illegal today. It may not be legal tomorrow, except few things which are generally have been crime since beginning. Clear hai? Please remember this. What is organized crime? A crime which has a proper structure from the starting to the end point. इसीलिए you always hear this news that the police has arrested these people selling drugs, these people selling guns, these prostitutes have been arrested from rescued from this massage center or something. But then why it does not end? It does not end because there is a proper structure of the crime. If you remove those person, मान लेते हैं you arrested some drug dealer at local level, it doesn't matter, he will go away, somebody else will come, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ने वाला. It's a chain. People do not matter, they come and they go out of the system. That's why you cannot deal with organized crime. And why organized crime survives? Because there is a demand. There's a fundamental rule of economics. If there will be a demand, there will always be a supply. Because you, for example, Gujarat and Bihar are dry states now. Do you think there is no alcohol there? Of course, it's available everywhere. Why? Because when it is illegal, you will sell it for 150 rupees, say for example. When it is illegal, you will sell it for 1,000 rupees, 500 rupees, because you will say I am taking too many risks. So obviously, बात है, which one is more profitable, the 151 or 500 one? Of course, the 500. उसमें 100 रुपए अगर मैं निकाल भी दूं local पुलिस का, तब भी you have 400 rupees. उसमें अदर का भी निकाल दूं, तब भी you have 300 rupees. It is twice the cost you have to pay in legality. So as long as people demand alcohol, it doesn't matter what the government do, they cannot stop it. Same goes with human trafficking. Human trafficking in India, recently a report was published. Recently you saw the news that a flight, Indian flight carrying around 303 passengers, was basically stopped in France because somebody tipped them off that there are chances that this flight may have been having human traffickers. अभी तो वो वापस आ गई है इंडिया में, but there was a tip to the French government that this flight has some human trafficking people or human trafficked people. So that was stopped. अब now we have to understand and remember, organized crimes में human trafficking is the third largest organized crime after gun and drugs. Drugs, gun are the largest one. After that come the human trafficking. And what is the definition you have to remember? According to United Nations Palermo Protocol. United Nations Palermo Protocol, remember this name, Palermo Protocol. It defines human trafficking as recruitment, transportation, transfer using force, SOPs matlab benefits, using force, SOPs, vulnerability to achieve the consent of a person for the purpose of exploitation. So, what is human trafficking? In which you use methods like recruitment, sorry, in which you methods like force, SOPs, vulnerability of a person to achieve their consent to carry out recruitment, transportation, and transfer. SOPs मतलब benefits. जैसे something that I give you in return, कुछ benefits. What are the biggest way of human trafficking, particularly in India? The largest way is marriage. Yes, marriage and jobs. Obviously, बात है when there is too much unemployment and people are hurt, of course. So if somebody promises, people travel. देखिए, understand the parents often do not like, majority of India, they do not often like their girls to go far job for far places until unless they are in tertiary sector. Tertiary sector में कोई problem नहीं है. Remaining sectors में primary and secondary sector में they won't prefer their girls going far away from the houses for any kind of job except tertiary. वो अलग ही बात होती है. तो because of that, चलिए anyway, हाँ, so because of that what happens is people promises. अगर आपने दहाड़ सीरीज देखी हो सोनाक्षी सिन्हा की, तो उसमें भी ये चीज दिखाई गई. what happens is India में there is a sad story but there is a tragedy. A large dowry is a reality. Okay, dowry is a big reality, and because of dowry a large number of parents may not be able to afford. One of the biggest reason of female infanticide is dowry, and the perception that how would we take care of her. Having a female becomes a responsibility as a kid for the parents, and the parents who are very poor, deprived, they often feel that how we would take care of them. But contrary to that, please remember female infanticide is more among the rich than the poor, because the rich have access to technology and poor में anyway the women have better status. मैंने आपको हमेशा बताया the rural area respect women more than urban areas, and the poor family respect women more than the rich families, because rural areas में women work along with men on farm. They have to work. 60% of farm labor is women, 40% is male. So women work more on the farm than male themselves. So because they work at par with the man outside, so that class differences, first class, second class differences, often do not come in rural areas. Plus that traditional way of living, respecting like a goddess wala. Third thing, urban areas में ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है. ठीक है. So keep that in mind when you study. But nonetheless, jobs and marriages is the biggest. जैसे recent में भी अगर आपने पढ़ा हरियाणा में हुआ था. I think few days back I read that Haryana mein Haryana is basically, you can say, badnaam for this, because they have a high female infanticide, very high, and because of this there are villages in Haryana where there is not even a single female born female है ही नहीं एक भी, अभी भी. Yes, I'm talking about this time. ठीक है. And है, हाँ, literally there are villages in Haryana where there is not even a single born female in that villages. So what happens is female नहीं है, शादी तो करनी है. तो हाँ, पड़ोस गांव से आती है, and there is a problem of buying. Yes, yes, the deprived state of India, Bihar, the eastern UP, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Northeast, they buy women from there. And if you see any documentary, it's abhorrible. They buy just, they work in home and they use for them as sexual slaves, and they resell them. ऐसा नहीं है that you're treating them like human being. You're buying them, using them, reselling them, and somebody do the same process. It goes and goes and goes and goes on. Haryana is very much notorious for this. That's what Gandhi said: wealth without worth, because they have got a lot of wealth from green revolution and land reform. Wealth आ गई, अकल नहीं आई है. And because of this, सेम टू स्टेट देखिए, इंडिया की दो स्टेट विच गॉट द मैक्सिमम बेनिफिट फ्रॉम ग्रीन रिवोल्यूशन, पंजाब एंड हरियाणा, दोनों बर्बाद है. पंजाब इज इन ड्रग्स टू मच एंड हरियाणा इज नोटोरियस फॉर दिस वुमन ड्रामा. This much is clear. So keep that in mind. So ये definition आप याद रखेंगे, and please remember this word, Palermo Protocol. If you're writing any internal security answer on human trafficking, which is very important one, please answer this. And what are the maximum according to Palermo Protocol? Why human trafficking take place? The three most important reasons are sexual exploitation, forced labor, and slavery, and last में organs. So the four biggest reason of human trafficking: sexual exploitation, forced labor, slavery, and human organs. Okay? And as I told you, it is the third largest crime after drugs and yes, weapons and arms. So these three things you have to remember. What is human trafficking? What are the purpose for which human trafficking is carried out? The four most important purpose, and it is what is the status of this crime? अब आता है process पे. There are only three processes of our human trafficking. The first stage पे you have place of origin, known as source area. This is a recruitment place where you use the vulnerability of a person. For example, fake marriage promise, some job promise, some other whatever is there available. ठीक है, इसमें एक प्रॉब्लम हमारे देश में आ गई है, particularly this internet revolution. इसने एक प्रॉब्लम किया, though it has liberated a lot of people, but there is a problem. It has shown you a world you do not have. ये पर्टिकुलर प्रॉब्लम आ गया है. The people who use Instagram or whatever, वहां पे there are a lot of fake videos people make for views and they earn money, but you start believing them. अब आप तो पढ़े लिखे हैं, but majority of the people believe कि whatever is happening in that clip is actually happens in the world. So what happened is you have seen a world in your mobile phone that you don't have, and who does not crave for a better world? And that's why the woman particularly, and I told you, individual liberty. Because of this internet revolution, the Western value of individual liberty is slowly imbibing in the minds of the young generation. The woman in particular, because male को इतना restriction नहीं होता है, women in particular feel frustrated in rural areas, particularly in conservative families. They want to leave that family when they grow up. जब young होते हैं तब तो आपको कोई option ही नहीं. When they grow up, they try to find a job away from the family so that they can live a life of internet that they have seen. And because of this, it becomes easy. If I promise you, I will take you Bangalore for a very good job, and you have never seen Bangalore, you have seen Bangalore only in your phone. So you will be more having more craving to go there. So this becomes the biggest reason to remember. There is a first stage में क्या होता है? First stage is a place of origin where you give the sobs, the foes, the vulnerabilities to recruit that person. Second stage is known as transition stage, in which that person has to stay for a limited period of time. And the last is destination stage, where that person has to be delivered to the customer. These are the three stages. And if you have seen that Love Sonia movie, that provides a detailed understanding of human trafficking, very graphic one. It's an international collaboration between Hollywood and Bollywood. International collaboration hai, and that movie is beautifully made. Love Sonia. That's a story of a young girl trying to find her sister, who was taken from the village on the grounds of jobs and then put into prostitution. And it's an international market. ऐसा मत समझिए it's a domestic market. It's an international market. ठीक है, प्लीज रिमेंबर. तो दीज आर थ्री स्टेजेस. जैसे सेम आपका इफ यू नो मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग में तीन स्टेज होती है: प्लेसमेंट, आपका लेयरिंग एंड इंटीग्रेशन. सिमिलरली इन ह्यूमन ट्रैफिकिंग देयर थ्री स्टेजेस: द रिक्रूटमेंट, द ट्रांजिशन एंड डेस्टिनेशन. ठीक है. Now what is the status? Let's see what is the status of human trafficking in India right now. In 2022, according to NCRB, around 6,500 human trafficking victims were found. 60% of them were women and girl. Now understand, these are the cases on which FIRs have been filed. NCRB data is based on FIRs filed. Majority of the people in India do not file FIR because the police is unsympathetic. Second problem is shame. इस बात में I always respect the Western world. They don't make it a shame matter. हालांकि blame the victim is common in every country. Doesn't matter which country you go. But nonetheless, the shame factor is very less in the Western world. द सेम फैक्टर इज वेरी हाई इन द ईस्टर्न वर्ल्ड. इसलिए अगर आपको पता हो, according to Ministry of Women and Child Development and Ministry of Justice, 50% of Indian kids are sexually abused in their families. 50%. It's a national shame कि हर दूसरा बच्चा इंडिया में हैज बीन अब्यूज्ड इन देयर फैमिली. नॉट अब्यूज का मतलब ये नहीं कि प्रॉपर अब्यूज है, हो सकता है अ स्मॉल टच, अनवांटेड टच, these kind of small abuses, and maybe a bigger abuse. 50% is a very high number. And why nobody talks about it? Because tension क्या है, इंडिया पाकिस्तान है ना. This is the problem. When you don't talk about it, how would you rectify it? मुझे पूरा यकीन है majority of the people को ये बात पता ही नहीं होगी. That 50% of kids in India, every second kid in India has been sexually abused, mildly or strongly. That's different. That was his clear. So, in why I'm saying this, 50% are abused, but yet FIR कितनी होती है? Rarely होता है. Because understand in this, who is involved? Family is involved. And understand, if you put any statistic, the crimes of rape and assault, majority of the crimes of rape and assault, around 90 to 95%, are committed by a known person. An unknown person rarely commits these crimes. Because आपको भी, for example, if you go outside, if you see a person you don't know, there is an element of deterrence. You have no idea what that person is capable of. But a person that you know, जैसे आप मजाक किसका बनाते हैं? अपने दोस्त का. किसी अननोन व्यक्ति का मजाक बनाने की हिम्मत नहीं करते, because you have no idea what that person is capable of. But your friend, उसका आप 2 सेकंड में मजाक बना दोगे. Why? Because you know that person. That's what happened. Majority of the sexual assault takes place inside the family or with the person the victim knows. There will rarely be a chances it will be take place outside the family. A problem here, it is inside the family. कोई चाचा, ताया, माया जो भी है. Because of this, registering an FIR becomes a shame on the entire family. इसलिए majority of the cases में it's a satisfying 90% of the cases में एक तो बच्चे को पता नहीं होता, it's a wrong touch. By the time they grow up, जब आप बच्चे होते हैं, there is a wrong touch, you don't know. But when you grow up, तब आपको समझ में आता है कि वो wrong touch था, पर तब तक बहुत लेट हो चुका होता है. First thing. Second thing, even if you know and tell the parents often confront the person, but they do not register FIRs and anything because they believe it will bring shame to the family. We have to change this norm. इसलिए एक बहुत अच्छा इनिशिएटिव लिया था दिल्ली पुलिस ने, बहुत अच्छा इनिशिएटिव, अब तो बंद हो गया. What they did is they put a complaint box outside every school. All you have to do is you can put an anonymous complaint there. बच्चों के लिए थी वो, स्मॉल स्कूल गोइंग किड्स के लिए थी. हर बॉक्स रख दिया था उन्होंने स्कूल के बाहर, स्कूल के गेट पे. anyone who has may have faced something like this और बोल नहीं पा रहा है, कुछ नहीं करना, बस उसके बारे में, अपने बारे में कुछ नहीं लिखना है. ऑल यू हैव टू राइट अबाउट द अदर पर्सन. उसके बारे में लिखो, ड्रॉप बॉक्स में डाल दो, एंड द पुलिस विल टेक केयर ऑफ इट. बहुत अच्छा इनिशिएटिव था, पता नहीं कहाँ गया. ठीक है, तो गुड इनिशिएटिव था. वी शुड हैव सच इनिशिएटिव्स. ठीक है, फॉर किड्स पर्टिकुलरली. एक वेबसाइट लॉन्च हुई है, पर बच्चों किड्स वेबसाइट चला पाएंगे? आई डोंट बिलीव. मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ वुमेन की एक वेबसाइट भी है चाइल्ड डेवलपमेंट की, इन विच किड कैन अनोनिमसली रिपोर्ट if something is happening, पर वेबसाइट पे कहाँ रिपोर्ट करेंगे वो? ठीक है. एनीवे, सो व्हाट प्लेस हियर इज, who shall take the responsibility of this? The parents. They should make the kid aware what is a wrong touch and what is a right touch, and they should make more comforting the kids that if something happens to them they should come to the parents first. बहुत बार बच्चे आते ही नहीं है, तो अंडरस्टैंड दैट. तो ये जो 6500 है ना, ये 65,000 भी हो सकता है, हमें कोई आइडिया नहीं है. Because it is NCRB. It's not a survey of government of India. So if we really want to know the true status, we should have a proper survey. सर्वे हमें रियल पिक्चर बताएगा. एनसीआरबी तो इज ओनली बेस्ड ऑन एफआईआरस फाइल्ड. सर्वे होगा तो रिपोर्ट आएगी, रिपोर्ट आएगी तो हो सकता है मीडिया को 2 मिनट का टाइम मिल जाए बात करने का. इफ द मीडिया विल गेट द टाइम टू टॉक अबाउट इट, हो सकता है कोई लॉ भी आ जाए. क्लियर है? चलिए. एंड सोचिए 6500 केसेस फाइल होते हैं और कितना कन्विक्शन रेट है? 16%. तो इसलिए मैंने आपको बताया था द स्लो जुडिशरी एंड अ करप्ट पुलिस impacts everyone, not only the common people, even the people in power. मैं आपको दो एग्जांपल बताया था, एक रुचिका गिरिहोत्रा केस where an IPS abused a strong young girl, and that IAS officer case, his daughter was abused by minister's son. Both cases में nothing much happened. This is the problem. We need ये reform देखिए हर जगह आता है, whether you are studying economics, ethics, whatever. Two reforms are compulsory in India as soon as possible. First, free police from political control and bring accountability also. Accountability भी बहुत जरूरी है. With powers come responsibility, and with responsibility comes accountability. These three things are parallel. If you have one of them, not the other, so it's disaster. If you free police completely without accountability, then they will become too powerful. हम नहीं चाहते इतने भी पावरफुल हो. We want to give accountability also towards the people. बात समझे? Second reform, judiciary itself, so that the cases shall be closed early possible. 16% shame है. 16% वो भी किस में, जब आपके पास केसेस ही जरा से है. मान लेते हैं एक बार को 16,000 16 करोड़ होते, तब 16% तो समझ भी आता है ऑफ दिस वेरी स्मॉल केसेस. और कमाल की बात, 8 states and 3 union territories saw no conviction at all. So India में you have 8 states with 3 UTs with no conviction, and no data is available in 11 states. तो ये तो स्टेटस चल रहा है हमारा. एंड हु इज द टॉप परफॉर्मर? झारखंड विद 84% कन्विक्शन. हाँ, it is performer in conviction of the people accused of human trafficking. Clear है? So we have seen three things. First, the stages of human trafficking. What is human trafficking? Why human trafficking take place? What is the status? And now, what is the law? Law में you have Article 23 Clause 1 of the Indian Constitution. It prohibits trafficking in human being or persons. Second, Immoral Trafficking Prevention Act, ITPA. It has one problem. It assumes that all human trafficking took place for sexual exploitation. Because of this, it believes that every prostitute is human trafficked. इसको अभी हम थोड़ी देर में डिबेट करेंगे, फिलहाल इतना ही देख लीजिए. नेक्स्ट, क्रिमिनल लॉज अमेंडमेंट एक्ट 2013. अंडर दिस द अमेंडेड सेक्शन 370. तीनों लॉ याद रखिएगा. फर्स्ट इज आर्टिकल 23 ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, राइट अगेंस्ट एक्सप्लॉइटेशन. Immoral Traffic Prevention Act, Criminal Laws Amendment Act 2013, which amended Article Section 370 of the IPC. अब ये बदल गया होगा BNS में. ठीक है. To address various form of human trafficking include child exploitation and post organ removal. उसके अलावा you have POCSO, Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act. It protects children from sexual abuses, and POCSO इसीलिए लाया गया था 2012 में. Because I told you, every second kid in India is abused. Because of that, the POCSO was brought in. Very strong law. बाकी legislation भी हमारे पास है. Prohibition of Child Marriage Act, Bonded Labor System Abolition Act, Child Labor Act. Sorry, कौन सी? हो जाती है पर बहुत कम हो गई है. It is less than 1%. मैं भी जानता हूँ लड़की क्या उसकी हुई थी. I know this. वो actually पेरेंट्स का जबरदस्ती होता है. She was roaming with some boyfriend or something. किसी ने, आपको पता है ना हमारे घर दुनिया में, इंडिया में सीसीटीवी से ज्यादा बड़ी आंटियां हैं. ठीक है. दे कैप्चर एवरीथिंग प्रॉपर्ली. सो किसी ने बता दिया होगा दैट योर गर्ल वाज रोमिंग विद दैट गाय और समथिंग, तो पेरेंट्स ने झटपट ब्याह करवा दिया. ठीक है. स्कूल कॉलेज सब बंद, चलो बेटा शादी करो. तो दिस इज अ प्रॉब्लम. क्या कर सकते हैं? देयर टू वैल्यू सेट, मैंने आपको बताया था, देयर टू वैल्यू सेट व्हिच आर कोलाइडिंग. The our value set, which is born into this internet revolution age, focusing on individual liberty, and the parents value set who are born before internet revolution, they are more into collective living, society, समाज, चार लोग, they focus on them or more. तो ये conflict चल रहा है, कोई बात नहीं. Let's see the ITPA provision, the most important law in India on human trafficking. Human Trafficking Prevention Act 1956. It laid down the legal framework for sex work in India, because it assumes that every sex worker is result of trafficking. ठीक है. तो it gives an approach that the police can rescue, protect, and rehabilitate the person. Second, it assumes that all sex work is a result of trafficking. And the third, an adult woman should produce a family to be released. These are the problems. What is the analysis of the law? A study was conducted in Kolhapur, Maharashtra. Kolhapur, Maharashtra, the study was conducted, and it was found this provision of rescue, protect, and rehabilitate is nothing but a stigma and nothing but a trauma. How? What you do is, an adult woman has to produce a family member to be released. A problem here, majority of the women left when they were young kids. They were kidnapped or whatever. So they don't know where is the family. Even if they know, the family will not take them back. First, they do not know. Even if they know, the family is least interested to take them back. In some cases, the family do not know what the girl is doing. So in all three cases, they don't want to go back to home. And so this provision becomes a problem. Better than this is, we should link them to self-help groups that I told you in the previous class when we discussed Ajivika, National Rural Livelihood Mission. In that, basically, government, what it does is, it brings SSG, self-help group. It brings the people together, provide them some money, provide them some skill, and let them do their business. It's the most successful model of the government. And particularly, majority of the SSGs are women SSGs. So the best thing is, देखिए problem क्या होता है, एक और problem है. With all sex works comes drug. You notice this, wherever a prostitute is available, drugs will always be available. What they do is, और ड्रग के साथ हथियार आते ही हैं. ठीक है, what they do is, they make the girl addicted to costly drugs. A problem here, even if you rescue her, she needs drug because she cannot survive without that. अब वो इतने afford कहाँ से करेगी? Ultimately, she has to go back. So drugs and prostitution always run parallel. जैसे इंडिया में अगर आपको जानना है एक place that मजनू का टीला. On the left side of the road, there is drug den. On the right side of the road, there is prostitutes. It's always available together. हाँ, गौतम बुद्ध रोड. हाँ, वो भी है. वो भी मैं, there are number of places. तो what it shows is, अभी हम इसे डिस्कस करेंगे. नेशनल कमीशन फॉर वुमेन has demanded amendment to the act and legalize willful sex trade and allow them to work with dignity. In this, Supreme Court has given a judgment. आपको, we have discussed that earlier also. Supreme Court has now recognized prostitution as a profession. A very good judgment. अब now Parliament must bring a law over it. Problem क्या है? And advantage क्या है? देखिए, we all can understand that prostitution is a moral sin. Prostitution is a moral sin because one person is exploiting other person for his or her pleasure. You're exploiting other person for your own pleasure. So of course it's a sin. But what is the problem? It's widely available and it is ubiquitous. Doesn't matter the society, doesn't matter the country, doesn't matter the region. Develop, underdeveloped, kahin bhi chale jao. It's available everywhere. And it has been since the time humanity exists. So the thing is, it was illegal in India till today, but it is available everywhere. So Supreme Court found a better solution. देखिए, something we want to make, eradicate something we want to eradicate, but if you cannot eradicate, at least regulate it properly. Advantage क्या होगा? If prostitution is recognized as a profession, they will get a job card. जैसे अमेरिका में होता है. They will be recognized as a proper job. Because of this, they can have proper contracts. Proper contracts means proper facilities. जैसे अभी normal job में you can have proper facilities. In that job maybe you can also have proper facilities. Government can give you a job card. Government can make sure you get all medical attention at time. All disease prevention can happen. Most important, if there is a kid born, we can rescue that kid before that kid fall into the same trap. Rescue them, teach them, give them education, give them skills, and grow them to be someone. That's most important about recognition. बात समझ में? That's why the National Commission is saying legalize willful sex trade. ठीक है. or anyway, it is a very small saying that a woman become prostitute because of the failure of the society and impotency of the government. Failure of the society not to provide opportunity, and the impotency of the government to prevent such events. So only person who has to blame here is the society itself, जो बातें बड़ी बड़ी करती है पर काम कुछ नहीं करती, and the government वो जो उससे भी बड़ी बातें करती है और काम कुछ नहीं करती. ठीक है. Next, trafficking of a good bill. Government of India tried to bring a new bill to amend the earlier bill, Trafficking of Person Prevention, Protection, Rehabilitation Bill 2018. This bill expands the definition of trafficking. Earlier bill में क्या है? Trafficking basically assumed for sex trade. This bill expands the definition of trafficking and it includes even bonded labor, begging, forced marriage, deception, and coercion. So it coercion means by force. So it means it has a wider definition of trafficking, a good provision. Second provision, it provides rigorous imprisonment or imprisonment for life for repeated offenders. The पहला provision अच्छा provision है. It now expands the definition of trafficking to include different kind of trafficking. ITPA में problem क्या है? The ITPA includes only sex trade as a cause of trafficking. It includes even the begging, for bonded labor, forced marriage, deception, and coercion. Second, rigorous imprisonment and imprisonment for life. Third, most important, this one is the most important provision. It aims to establish proper bureau. अभी problem क्या है? Human trafficking rests with police, the utterly incompetent branch of government. We will have a proper dedicated bureau known as National Anti-Trafficking Bureau. At state level, we will have state anti-trafficking officers, and at district level, we will have district committees. Very good provisions of the law. And next thing is, it has various relief and rehabilitation measures, including an interministerial committee. So all the provisions are very good. इसीलिए बिल पास नहीं हुआ. Because what is most important? What is most important? What is most important is Rahul Gandhi shall say sorry in the parliament. What is most important is Rahul Gandhi should say sorry in the parliament. Pakistan shall be defeated first. These are more important. ये तो होता रहेगा. क्या हो गया है? क्योंकि वो बिल सरकार चाहती थी. ये बिल सरकार को कोई खास इंटरेस्ट है नहीं. I told you who is to blame here. Again, the media. Media brings issue to the psyche of the people. Something we call CNN effect. एक स्कॉलर रहे हैं, उन्होंने एक टर्म कॉइन की थी, CNN effect. He argued that media acts as a gatekeeper of information. अब तो चलो सोशल मीडिया आ गया है, तब सोशल मीडिया नहीं था. Media acts as a gatekeeper of information. It makes some issue important and it makes some issue not important, even if it is important. The problem is you have a media which talks about everything under the sun except these things. ठीक है, अब अच्छा लॉ था, पास हो जाना चाहिए था, बट कोई नहीं. ठीक है, ऐसे बहुत अच्छे लॉ है हमारे पास जो पड़े हुए हैं, जो पास नहीं हो रहे. जैसे मैंने आपको बताया था, विसल ब्लोअर प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट 2014 में विसल ब्लोअर प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट पास हो गया है. प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने साइन भी कर दिया है. द ओनली थिंग यू रिक्वायर इज just notify the bill. If you notify the Whistleblower Protection Act, it will be enforced. अब ठीक है, अभी पॉलिटिक्स है पार्ट, क्या कर सकते हैं. अब इसलिए मैंने आपको बोला, इफ यू कैच दिस थिंग, you pick any country and then see only two things. First, see only one thing. What is their status in press freedom? Only one thing. See, any country which is high in press freedom is high in every other indicator. Beat anyone. जैसे अभी हमारे पे एक अच्छी रिपोर्ट आई है, बहुत प्यारी रिपोर्ट. ग्लोबल हंगर इंडेक्स पब्लिश हुआ है 2023 का. इंडिया हैज बिकम 111. Congratulations to all Indians. Amrit Kal is here. 111 we have achieved. Abhishek, Whistleblower Protection Act was passed in 2014. Whistleblower means any person who expose corruption. जैसे मान लेते you become an IAS officer, you found something corruption is going on in your department, you want to expose it, but you cannot. If you expose it, you may not fear your life, but you will surely fear your family's life. कोई भी fear करेगा. That is the problem. You will fear it, so you will not expose it. So Whistleblower Protection Act में anyone in the government services can go to a commission. We will create a separate commission. You can go there, make a anonymous complaint, then you are done. आपका कोई role नहीं. Then that commission will go to judiciary, police, get out investigation, everything that commission will do. Your role ends just to inform the commission. Very good act, weak hai, because it covers only union government, not the state governments. It covers only government part, not the private part. But nonetheless, this weak law has not been notified since 2014. सिर्फ notify करना है, pass भी नहीं करना है इस बिल को. And then you expecting कि ये बिल पास हो जाएगा. बहुत ही naive हो तुम लोग. चलिए, let's see what is the problem here. The problem here is the one issue in this law was that any social worker can rescue, produce a victim. Any social worker can rescue and produce a victim before district anti-trafficking committee. अब प्रॉब्लम क्या है इसके साथ? इट विल लीड टू मॉरल पुलिसिंग. जो लौंडा लौंडिया दिखे किसी पार्क में, उठा के ले जाओ. ये विक्टिम है ह्यूमन ट्रैफिकिंग की. ठीक है, दिस इज द प्रॉब्लम. इसमें व्हाट वी शुड हैव डन इज प्रॉपर रजिस्ट्रेशन. ये हमें ऐड करना चाहिए था, दैट पीपल हु आर एसोसिएटेड विद एनजीओस विद क्रेडिबल रिकॉर्ड, they should register themselves with district anti trafficking committee and only they can rescue. Abhi kya hai, no NGO can rescue anyone. They have to inform the local police. The local police goes with them. If you watch that Love Sonia movie, सबको पता है क्या हो रहा है. आपको क्या लगता है आधे कस्टमर में तो वो लोकल पुलिस वाले ही हैं. And then what happened, as soon as some NGO comes, they instantly inform the people to hide the kids. Because imagine, remember, if a woman or a boy less than the age of 18 is found, then it is automatic prosecution. POXO mein. 18 se above hai, then you have to establish that that woman or that man was there out of will. Agar above 18 hai. Lekin agar below 18 hai, then you do not have to prove ki that person was out of will. It will be assumed that person was out of will and POXO will apply. Immediately everyone in that area will be arrested. इसलिए वो क्या करते हैं, दे इन्फॉर्म देम एंड दे हाइड ऑल द किड्स. जो भी 18 से नीचे बच्चे होते हैं सबको वो हाइड कर देते हैं, बिकॉज अगर वो पकड़े गए तो सब पकड़े जाएंगे. अडल्ट में क्या होता है, आपको प्रूव करना पड़ेगा कि दिस पर्सन इज देयर विद विल और आउट ऑफ विल. बच्चों में प्रूव करना जरूरत नहीं पड़ता. तो इफ यू सी दिस, दिस इज द प्रॉब्लम. व्हेन एन एनजीओ गोज टू पुलिस, पुलिस में ही कोई ना कोई होता है, दे इन्फॉर्म द लोकल पिम्स कि पुलिस आ रही है, छुपा दो बच्चों को. दिस इज द प्रॉब्लम. सो व्हाट वी कैन डू इज we should amend this provision a bit, and the public spirited people, they can register with the local committee, the district committee, and they can rescue anyone. Only they can rescue. कोई भी नहीं. अभी क्या कोई भी लिखा है इसमें. और आपको पता ही है कुछ लोग हैं वैलेंटाइन डे पे एक्टिव होने वाले, वो किसी को भी पकड़ के ले जाएंगे. और लिटरली ऐसा हुआ है भोपाल में. देयर वाज अ केस, वैलेंटाइन डे था, एंड you know the people, so they captured, basically there was a girl and a boy roaming there. उन्होंने पकड़ लिया, and they were literally brothers and sister. He said I am her brother and something. उन्होंने माना नहीं. उन्होंने कहा हाँ ठीक है, और उन्होंने उनकी शादी करा दी जबरदस्ती. And the boy was so mentally disturbed, he committed suicide. बड़ा ही ड्रामा हो गया, क्योंकि ऑब्वियसली बात है, पकड़े जाओगे भाई बहन ही बोलोगे पिटने के डर से, तो उन्हें भी लगा पिटने के डर से भाई बहन बोल रहे हैं. एंड दे लिटरली गॉट देम मैरिड वहीं पे इंस्टेंटली. चलो बेटा शादी करो. अब it was utterly stupid. अब ऐसे incidents can happen. तो इसलिए what we should have is that you should register with the committee and then only you can protect. इससे क्या होगा, we can make sure the person who is registering has some credibility. Clear है? चलिए. Next problem with this bill is it continues to combine prostitution with it continues to combine the both. It still believes that prostitution and commercial sexual exploitation are the same thing. And Justice Verma committee ने जबकि clear कहा था, this committee was appointed after Nirbhaya rape case. Justice Verma committee clearly said that section 370 shall not permit the law enforcement agency to harass the sex workers who are doing this at their free will. ठीक है, तो we have discussed this comprehensively. कुछ government measures हैं, देख लो यार जो भी है, anti trafficking nodal agency whatever. So with this, now you do not have to cover internal security में human trafficking. It is comprehensively covered here. हो गया आपका. चलिए अगला देख लेते हैं, अगली न्यूज किस बारे में है पता नहीं। ओ, नेशनल ह्यूमन राइट्स कमीशन, ये भी है हमारे पास। ये कब बनी? चलिए देख लेते हैं ये क्या काम करती है या काम नहीं करती है, देखते हैं। अच्छा ठीक है, तो NHRC has responded to a petition by instructing Union Home Ministry and 6 state governments to inform regarding victims impacted by Salwa Judum. Salwa Judum, नई ड्रेस का नाम है Salwa Judum. Salwa Judum was a practice started by Chhattisgarh government. What was happen is, थोड़ा सा मैं आपको brief background बताता हूँ, नीचे लिखा हुआ है, पढ़ लेना. Let me give a brief background. First about something called Maoism. ये भी internal security से है आपका. This news is also from internal security, GS paper 3. A bit, let me tell you about Maoism. What is Maoism? We know communism. There is a communism is a Karl Marx variety of socialism. Socialism is an idea which basically talks about working class rights. There's a capitalist talks about entrepreneurship, merit, and whatever. So socialism is an idea which talks about working class rights. Within socialism, there is a variety called communism. Karl Marx's idea of socialism. अब प्रॉब्लम क्या थी? कार्ल मार्क्स प्रेडिक्टेड, मैं आपको बता देता हूं. कार्ल मार्क्स सेड व्हेन अ क्लास इन इटसेल्फ कन्वर्ट टू क्लास फॉर itself, then revolutions happen. If you want to have a revolution against an unjust system, you must convert from a class in itself to class for itself. And this will happen when you will develop revolutionary consciousness. Revolutionary consciousness has two components: objective experience and subjective realization. So what Karl Marx said is that workers around the world have objective experience. They all are exploited by the capitalist, but they don't have the subjective realization that they all are one. इसलिए अगर आपको पता हो, भगत सिंह was a leftist. He was not a rightist, he was a leftist. When he entered into the Central Legislative Assembly, the slogan he said was, "Worker of the world unite." It's a very common slogan among the leftist parties. Worker of the world unite. And what divides the worker of the world? क्या divide कर रहा है उन्हें? Nationalism. A fixed boundary nationalism. That I told. Nationalism was evolved by the capitalist as an idea to divide the working class solidarity. अब imagine कीजिए, what is the interest of a worker in America or in India? Same. They have same interest. But yet they will favor their country over, they will favor even their capitalist over the workers of America. The American workers are saying to the American government, bring the jobs back to America from India. They don't understand that they are poor, they are hungry because of their capitalists have done this. अब उन्हें कौन बताए बात? So this is the problem with leftism, communism, Maoism. These are ideology of the poor. Only rich understand. ये सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है इसके साथ. ये ideology तो poor की है, but only rich people understand these ideologies. Now, this has to happen objective experience plus subjective realization. Then came a person called Lenin. Lenin was a leader in Russia who led the Russian Revolution 1917. Lenin was of the opinion that this subjective realization of oneness and against capitalism, people may or may not develop. अब कुछ लोग होते हैं ना, if you know that why often police do not interfere in family disputes, because it is often seen that the girl first complaint and then takes the side of the husband later on. तो इसलिए बंदा कहता मरो मेरे जाने. This often happens, particularly in traditional families. Young generation में ना भी होता हो, traditional family often happens. Even if the husband is abusive, the girl often, the mother often, or whatever the woman is, often take the side of the family instead of the facing the family. इसलिए people do not intervene. So there are some people who never develop consciousness. A word Karl Marx used. Such people Karl Marx called lumpen proletariats. So remember this word lumpen. Proletariat. Proletariat means the people who have no wealth, means zero wealth. Proletariat will be the people who have zero wealth. Lumpen, Lumpen, lumpen proletariat. Proletariats are the people who have zero wealth, and bourgeoisie are the people who have everything. The haves and have-nots. In Karl Marx's idea, Karl Marx himself said that there are some people who will never develop consciousness. चाहे कुछ भी हो जाए. Such people are known as lumpen proletariat. These are the people who have nothing with them, but yet they will not develop revolutionary consciousness. So Lenin, for lumpen proletariat and to fast forward subjective realization of deprivation, he created the idea of Communist Party. What is Communist Party? Communist Party is a collection of individuals dedicated to Marxism. So what is Communist Party? Communist Party is a collection of individuals whose only purpose in this life is to make communism a reality in the world. Dedicated. Communist Party. And then came Mao. So Lenin and Mao. Remember, Karl Marx never talked about Communist Party. Karl Marx believed that this subjective realization leading to revolutionary consciousness must develop within the working class. Nobody should come and tell. But मैंने आपको बताया ना that you are being insulted by somebody, then your friend comes and tell you कि तेरी बेइज्जती हुई है. To make it clear, हाँ भाई बेइज्जती हुई है. The Communist Party will behave the same way. It will come to the working class and tell them that you are being exploited by the capitalist class. Be rebellious. इसी फॉर्म में आता है माओ. Karl Mao also changed some component of communism. Most important one is that Karl Marx predicted that the revolution will happen when on one hand there is entire wealth with the capitalists and on the other hand there is zero wealth, proletariat versus bourgeoisie. But Mao was differed in opinion. Mao said no, the revolution can also be taken care by peasants. Peasants, the farming category. Why? Karl Marx के मुताबिक these people can never be revolutionary because peasants or the farmers have what they have? Land. They have wealth. And a person who has wealth can never develop revolutionary consciousness. Mao differed in that. And Mao gave a slogan that revolution comes from the barrel of the gun. दो चीजें याद रखिएगा. First change Mao brought was he brought peasants into the movement, something Karl Marx did not want it. Second, he gave a slogan that revolution comes from the barrel of the gun. And he replicated that in Chinese Revolution. China mein a revolution took place between KMT party of Chiang Kai-shek and Communist Party of China of Mao Zedong. It was a civil war basically. Revolution Chinese कहते हैं. It was a civil war in China. And because of that, the KMT party lost and they went in Taiwan. At that point of time, it was just an island of China. Now they founded Taiwan. So what is Taiwan? Taiwan is the original Republic of China. And what is current China? It's People's Republic of China or the Communist China. यहाँ तक सबको समझ में आया? So Mao brought these two alienation, and with these two changes in the Marxist idea, he could achieve communism in or Maoism in China. That is what Naxalism is, and that is what you have in India. India made the Naxalite movement started, the Naxalism of India. Actually, these are the people who are trying to replicate Mao of China. That's why they are also known as Maoist. सबको समझ में आया? What are they? These are the people who are inspired by Mao's idea of communism. That is a communism that comes from the barrel of the gun. And that's why they use violence to achieve communism. Okay? And that is what Naxalism is. So Naxalism is a term used to describe communist insurgency or the militant groups that have been active in India since 1960s. अब ऐसा क्यों होता? Because initially you had a communist party in India. There was a person, Charu Majumdar. Huh? अब Charu Majumdar, what happened is Charu Majumdar was of the opinion, because when India got independent, everyone got right to vote. So Communist Party was of the opinion that we do not need violent revolution. We can go in parliament, capture the parliament, and we can bring any reform. But Charu Majumdar was not of this opinion. Charu Majumdar was nahi. You will be entrapped in the model called Surajist. आपने शायद वर्ल्डिस्टी हो गया, आप सॉरी मॉनिस्ट्री हो गया आप लोगों का, तो उसमें आप एक टर्म पढ़ेंगे सुराजिस्ट. These were the people who participated in Government of India Act 1919. When Government of India Act 1909 came and 1919 came, there were two parts. आपने पढ़ा होगा moderates and extremist divide. वो इसी बात पे हुआ था. Moderate extremist divide happened because British government was bringing the Government of India Act 1909, which was establishing legislation and all. So there was a part of the Congress, moderate part, who wanted to participate in the election process. The other part did not want to participate. Because देखिए other part का मानना क्या था? If you participate in the election process, you will give legitimacy to the British government. They brought this law, they have brought this system, और आप उसमें participate कर रहे हो. It means you are acknowledging British sovereignty. But they said, yaar, if we will not go into the parliament, if we will not go into the legislature, then British loyalists will go there, the zamindar, the ICS officers and princes, and they will make law whatever they want. So these people said, we will go into the legislature and we will basically destroy British Empire from inside. But they don't understand one thing about power. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And most important, it is very easy to criticize government when you're out of the government. When you join the government, you behave the same. Because government is very good at throwing people out who don't work. It's a very good engine. If the part does not work, it is replaced. So that is what happened. That's what happened here also. The Communist Party, which says we should go to parliament, capture the parliament, and bring communism in China, India, not through barrel of the gun. Charu Majumdar said no, because this government of India is a capitalist controlled government. If you participate in the capitalist system, मैंने आपको बताया था डेमोक्रेसी कम्युनिस्ट क्या कहते हैं. डेमोक्रेसी इज अ गवर्नमेंट ऑफ द कैपिटलिस्ट बाय द कैपिटलिस्ट फॉर द कैपिटलिस्ट. और कुछ हद तक सही भी बोलते हैं वो, बिकॉज हु इज प्रोटेक्टिंग द कैपिटलिस्ट वेल्थ? गवर्नमेंट. आप लोग इस वक्त एंटीलिया में बैठ के चाय नाश्ता क्यों नहीं कर रहे हो? बिकॉज भारत सरकार ने एंटीलिया को प्रोटेक्शन दे रखी है. कैपिटलिस्ट वेल्थ इज प्रोटेक्टेड बाय द गवर्नमेंट. Without that protection, the people will take over it. The factories will be demolished. So capitalists give funding to political parties. Based on that, they win elections. When they come into power, they work for the capitalist. That's why communists say the so-called democracies are democracies of the capitalists, for the capitalists, by the capitalists. It's a dictatorship for the working class. So बात समझ में आई? So Charu Majumdar said, if you participate in the election process, then you will participate in the capitalist democracy. And we want a revolution against capitalism. We don't want to become the part of the capitalism. And that's how two branches becomes in India. And इसीलिए यहाँ पे लिखा है 19. तो 1960 से दो ब्रांच हो गए इंडिया में. One communist party which participated in the election process, other communist party which did not participate in the election process and started direct armed struggle, and those people you call moist. Foundation clear हो गया सबको? Please remember this. And the first event that took place in Naxalbari, West Bengal, and based on this they are called as Naxalites. So what is Naxalites? Naxalites are Indian version of Maoism. सीधी सी बात है, ठीक है? And initially Naxalism basically started against, अगर आप नक्सलाइज कोई लेफ्टिस्ट व्यक्ति से बात करेंगे ना, they always say that we are fighting for the people's जंगल जंगल जमीन. The main argument होता है that we are fighting people's Jal Jangal Jameen against a capitalist government, a foreign controlled capitalist government. That's their excuse. So the current party है, आप लोग याद रखिएगा, this party's name is Communist Party of India, Maoist. Marxist Leninist नहीं, Maoist, वो पुराना नाम है. Communist Party has evolved into numerous names. The current name, वो पुराना नाम था Marxist Leninist. The current name is CPI-M, CPI Maoist. There are other CPI also. Communist Party of India Marxist, Communist Party of India normal जो है आपकी National Communist Party of India, they all participate in election process. वो अलग है. They are the believer of Marxism, but not a violent Marxism. They believe in parliamentary road to communism. The remaining parties who do not believe in parliamentary road to communism, they are radicals and they are known as Maoist. Okay, please remember this. And it is banned under UAPA. तो यहां तक कहानी खत्म. अब आते हैं सलवा जुडुम पे, जिसके कारण न्यूज आई है. What is Salwa Judum? Chhattisgarh government got a brilliant idea. What they did is they recruited the local youth, because problem क्या होता है in rural areas में, in forest में, the locals, the tribals of that area know that place better. They know every nook and corner. अब an armed forces going from Delhi to मान लेते हैं छत्तीसगढ़, उन्हें क्या पता है छत्तीसगढ़ के बारे में? They are not accustomed with the terrain of the Chhattisgarh. So in that a problem comes. So Chhattisgarh government ने क्या करा? Chhattisgarh government raised some young kids, individuals. I think the age was 15 से 16. Yes. So what government is? The Chhattisgarh government launched this in 2005. Salwa Judum. It also means peace hands, people's movement. Numerous name. छत्तीसगढ़ी में. So some of the cadre of the 15 से 16 साल के बच्चों को उन्होंने क्या बना दिया? स्पेशल पुलिस ऑफिसर्स. उनको एक राइफल दे दी, 2-3 कुछ पैसे दे दिए. प्रॉब्लम क्या हो गई? These young kids were so ill trained. They had, देखिए पहला नंबर, they had no or they have no understanding of policing. They had no purpose or sense. अब यंग किड्स थे, 16-17 साल के बच्चों को आप गने पकड़ा रहे हो बिना ट्रेनिंग के, बिना उन्हें बताया कि ये गन क्यों है. सो व्हाट हैपेंड इज दे themselves looted the villages. तो यंग एरियाज में देखिए ट्रेनिंग देना जरूरी होता है. इफ यू ट्रेन अ पर्सन दैट्स ओके. ब्रेन वॉशिंग वी कैन आल्सो कॉल इट. यहाँ पे आपने ट्रेनिंग दी नहीं, गन दे दी, and you are giving some money. So what ultimately happens? They were so ill trained, ill equipped and immature. They themselves looted the villages. तो नक्सलाई की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ी हमें. तो they themselves looted the villages. They killed the people, raped some women. अब ड्रामा बहुत बढ़ गया. Ultimately, it went to Supreme Court of India, and Supreme Court gave an order to basically end the Salwa Judum policy. Criticize very much the Chhattisgarh government and the Salwa Judum policy. और आज भी यू कैन पिक एनी रिपोर्ट, बीट ज़ाज़ा रिपोर्ट, इसमें शायद मेंशन होगा मेरे ख्याल में. नीचे कहीं मेंशन है, देख लेना, मुझे दिख नहीं रहा कहाँ पे है मेंशन इसमें कहीं पे. देयर वाज रिपोर्ट ऑफ ज़ाज़ा कमिटी एंड ऑल. दे ऑल हैव क्लियरली सेड दिस थिंग. नेवर मेक सलवा जुलूम लाइक पॉलिसी एवर अगेन. Never ever do this. In this, Andhra Pradesh model is better. Andhra Pradesh created greyhounds. These were elite officers of the police. Few people were selected from the police and the other forces of Andhra Pradesh. They were given proper training, proper command channels, and everything was provided to them. And they basically rooted Maoism out of Andhra Pradesh. We have two case studies. One, Salwa Judum जैसी अखंड बकवास छत्तीसगढ़ की, and second, the greyhounds of Andhra Pradesh. The greyhounds of Andhra Pradesh were highly successful in dealing with Maoist insurgency, unlike the Salwa Judum of Chhattisgarh. ठीक है, these are two very important things. चलिए आप देखते हैं इसमें NHRC कहां से बीच में कूद पड़ा, देख लेते हैं. So we have understood what is Salwa Judum, what is Naxalism, the background of Naxalism in India and everything. अब आते हैं National Human Rights Commission. It was created in 1993 under protection of Human Rights Act. It basically safeguards the human rights within the country. और obviously बात है, अब composition क्या है? Let's see. It has 1 chairman and 5 members, the chairman shall be a retired chief justice or a judge of Supreme Court. Members can be a serving or retired judge of Supreme Court and a serving and retired chief justice of High Court. So फर्क देखिए, चेयरमैन में only retired are allowed, members में even serving judges are allowed. तो चेंज याद रखिएगा, यूपीसी प्ले विद लैंग्वेज, वो लिख देगी द रिटायर्ड सुप्रीम कोर्ट जजेस कैन ओनली बी द मेंबर्स एंड यू आर लाइक हाँ ये तो सही बात है. सही बात नहीं है, बिकॉज इवन द सर्विंग जजेस कैन बिकम द मेंबर ऑफ एनएचआरसी. ठीक है, प्लीज रिमेंबर दिस. लेकिन टू बिकम अ चेयरमैन यू मस्ट बी retired. This difference please remember. And along with this there will be 3 experts, individual with expertise in human right, ensuring diverse representation, and minimum one of them shall be a female. So this is the current composition of your NHRC. 6 members हो गए ना, तो 6 में एक चेयरमैन हो गया, 2 जजेस हो गए, 3 एक्सपर्ट ऑफ ह्यूमन राइट्स, वन ऑफ विच शैल बी वुमन. तो 6 members हो गए. And who are the ex officio members? Sari Commission, National Commission for Minority, Scheduled Caste, Scheduled Tribe, Women, Backward Class, Child Rights, Disability. All these commissions are members of NHRC, automatic members. हाँ, इनका जो भी चीफ होगा, क्योंकि पूरी कमीशन कहां से आएगी, चीफ जो होगा. What are the function? आपको पता ही, इसका नाम में ही लिखा हुआ है. It basically investigate the human rights violation, intervene in legal proceedings. It can visit any jail and detention center. पर मुझे पता नहीं कब विजिट किया था उन्होंने. It can review constitutional legal safeguards. ठीक है, सुनने में आ रहा है पावर बहुत है इसके पास, तो कमियां क्या है? तो what are the problem? पहले देख लेते हैं अचीवमेंट क्या है. It has intervened sometimes. ऐसा नहीं इंटरवीन नहीं करा है. अगर आपको पता, निथारी हत्याकांड हुआ था एक, निथारी, आई थिंक यूपी में कहां हुआ था. दैट पर्सन लिटरली एट द किड्स. ही एट द किड्स. हाँ, खा गया, कैनिबलिज्म था. यहीं पे हुआ था. हाँ, मुझे एग्जैक्ट लोकेशन याद नहीं है, तब मैं भी बहुत छोटा था, आप तो बच्चे ही होंगे बिल्कुल. है उसके आसपास मुझे याद नहीं, आप सर्च करना. निथारी कांड बोलते हैं इसे, निथारी कांड. दैट पर्सन व्हाट ही डिड इज ही वाज अ कैनिबलिस्ट. कैनिबलिज्म मींस व्हेन वन स्पीशीज ईट्स इटसेल्फ. ठीक है, दैट इज कॉल्ड कैनिबलिज्म. सो बेसिकली व्हाट ही डिड इज ही कैप्चर्ड द पुअर किड्स फ्रॉम प्लेसेस एंड ही बेसिकली ईट देम. काट पीट के जो भी खाना था खा गया उन्हें. हाँ, लेकिन वो मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट, वो गरीब बच्चों को पकड़ता था. क्योंकि जैसे गांधी जी ने कहा, पॉवर्टी इज द वर्स्ट फॉर्म ऑफ वायलेंस. यहाँ पे अमीरों के बच्चों की परवाह होती है. इफ यू आर, मान लेते हैं मिनिस्टर सन, अगर आप 2 घंटे के लिए भी गायब हो जाते हो, यूपी पुलिस, द ऑनरेबल पुलिस, द बिहार पुलिस, इवन ऑनरेबल पुलिस, दे वर फाइंडिंग दैट लालू जी के क्या भैंस खो गई थी, क्या खो गया था, दे वर फाइंडिंग देम. यहाँ पे जो भी खोया था मुझे याद नहीं एग्जैक्टली, बट बच्चे खो रहे हैं. देखिए, इट्स अ नेशनल शेम. आप समझिए, इंडिया में जो रिपोर्ट कहती है, अराउंड 17 वुमेन्स आर रेप्ड एवरी डे इन इंडिया. Around 600 something people gets missing every year in India. These are noted numbers. Unofficial kitna hoga, you can imagine. These are the things we should talk. These are things we should debate. But media na interested hai, na koi aur interested hai. Chaliye, anyway, aisa nahi everything is gloomy. Sometimes they have intervened also. So it address excessive use of police force. कई जगह पे intervene किया इसने. It is address आजम खान. अच्छा, आजम खान की भैंसे पकड़ रहे थे. अच्छा, ठीक है. ठीक है. It took suo motu cognizance of farmer society in Maharashtra, help from the committee. It helped ratification of UN Convention against torture. अभी ये साइन हुआ नहीं है, पर ये बात कर रहा है. इंडिया में torture is always used for extraction of information. आपको लगता है ये अच्छा तरीका है? इस इंफॉर्मेशन मिल जाएगा? नहीं मिलता. It has been proper, ये मूवियों ने पॉपुलर बना दिया है. A study was conducted by Oxford University. They saw that torture, is it lead to better information? They found it is not. What happens is, even if there is an innocent, if you're torturing them, जो तुम बोलोगे वो मान जाएगा. And to prevent the torture, that person will give any information you can imagine. So what happened when American government rounded Muslims around the world after 2011, 211, sorry, 2001. 2001 में when that Twin Tower strike happened, America rounded a large number of Muslims from the world and they took them into Cuba. Cuba में there is a place called as Guantanamo Bay, Gitmo in short. So Gitmo में they brought, why they took it to Cuba? Common sense. America में within the boundaries of America, the standard of liberty are very high. So if they take those people inside America, then they come under American Constitution. And so the Supreme Court of America would have freed them and would have restrained the government. So उन्होंने क्या करा, अमेरिका से बाहर एक जेल बनाई क्यूबा में, and that jail was outside the American Constitution. And there they torture literally. You cannot imagine any punishment you can imagine to humans, any degree that was given. A study was conducted on that. It was found that 99% of the information given by those people was fake. सीधी सी बात है, if you are torching some sleep deprivation you are causing to someone, जैसे आपके केस में देख लीजिए 2 दिन से सोए ना हो, आप कुछ भी मान जाओगे, लाइक बस चुप हो जा, मुझे सोने दे, ठीक है, whatever you are saying is right, ठीक है, that is the thing. When there is torture, the torture never leads to the real picture. Remember this. That's why there's a convention against torture that you an advocate we should sign. चलिए एनीवे ठीक है, अब इश्यूज देख लेते हैं क्या है. The biggest issue with NHRC is its recommendations are only, sorry, its suggestions are only recommendatory in nature. They are not binding. Or this is true for every organization of government. All are incompetent mouthpiece. They can say things, but that does not bind the government to do anything. Second thing, as it is written, recommendation are not binding. And most important thing, NHRC cannot intervene in armed forces. It cannot call any action of armed forces into action. जैसे recent में अगर आपको पता, few week before it happened in Jammu Kashmir, there were 4 individuals, 4 army officers who were killed in an ambush by some militants. Army rounded up 8 people of Jammu Kashmir, and then a video went viral on Twitter. What was there? Severe torture. They naked them, they stripped them their clothes, and they shoved chilies in their private parts. And it became viral in Jammu Kashmir. Ab issue samjhiye. I understand that you had your fellow person who joined with you, a best friend of yours, a good friend of yours. That person was killed yesterday. Of course, you are emotionally charged. कोई भी हो सकता है, but understand, मैंने हमेशा बोला है, when you're wearing the uniform of the state, your individual actions are the actions of the state. Since the removal of 370, भारत सरकार ने जितना एफर्ट लगाया है to make the Jammu Kashmiri people feel that it's their country, सारा रिवर्स हो गया एक छोटे से इंसिडेंट से. The small incidents has reversed whatever effort the government has put place since the removal of 370, because the leaders of Jammu Kashmir, they literally said things. As Mahbooba Mufti openly tweeted that this is what the government of India considered Jammu Kashmir is like, animals to be tortured. अब वो तो भाई बोलेंगे ही, obviously बात है. Always remember, if you do not have your house in order, somebody will be there to take advantage. अब इस वीडियो का सबसे ज्यादा फायदा कौन उठाएगा? पाकिस्तान, ISI. They will intentionally use this video to brainwash the youth of Jammu Kashmir, to tell them, look, this is your this is government of India. Revolt against government of India. So your small stupidity, because you were emotionally charged, can lead to undoing of decades, can lead to revolutions also. तो इसलिए मैं हमेशा बोलता हूँ, always be a cold blooded man or woman. जब भी आप गवर्नेंस में चले जाएं, when you go into the governance, be a cold blooded person. Do not get emotionally charged immediately, even if your family members are involved. अगर आप इमोशन में एक्शन लेंगे तो बुरा हो जाएगा. अब ये चलो बहुत बड़ी बात होगी, छोटा सा देख लेते हैं. If you see Assam में there was a SP of Assam. His family went to animal safari. 3 दिन पुरानी न्यूज है. His family went to animal safari. अब वहां पे ticket was full, so the ticket giver said come next day, and SP साहब को बुरा लग गया, And SP Saab was like, how dare you to not give ticket to my family? He was like, would you like to spend a night in jail? He cut the call. Then police came after that, took that person in the jail for one night. No charge sheet, no crime, nothing. Pure abuse of power. And what happened? Because thank God we have social media. This thing he said, it went viral. The chief minister of Assam, Hemant Biswa Sharma, tendered an apology. The DGP of the state tendered an apology, and they asked the SP to go immediately and tender an apology. अब हो सकता है वो एसपी दिल का बहुत अच्छा हो, समझिए मैं क्या समझाना चाह रहा हूँ. हो सकता है दैट पर्सन मे बी अ गुड पर्सन, हो सकता है ही मे हैव हेल्ड अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल, बट एक छोटी सी बेवकूफी, बिकॉज ही वाज इमोशनली चार्ज्ड, जिंदगी भर का ड्रामा बन गई. ही विल बी रिमेम्बर्ड फॉर एवर नाउ. एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन में लोग भूलते नहीं है कमियों को. ठीक है, ठीक है. दिस इज द प्रॉब्लम, दैट्स व्हाई आई ऑलवेज से नेवर बी इमोशनली चार्ज्ड. ठीक है. Anyway, so it cannot intervene in armed forces. Also, it lacks autonomy financial because it gets money from Ministry of Homes. The Ministry of Home financially controls it. It does not have sufficient number of officers. It cannot take suo moto action or arrest under UAPA. कभी लिया ही नहीं एक्शन इन्होंने. And also limited diversity. Chairman member हमेशा जुडिशरी से होते हैं. And you cannot file a complaint if it is older than 1 year. So these are some limitation of NHRC. Anyway, NHRC कुछ खास करती वर्ती तो है नहीं वैसे भी. Because understand, institutions are neither bad nor good. It depends upon who run them. If the person in power is good, the institution will be good. If the person in power is bad, the institution will be bad. तो institution कभी अच्छे बुरे नहीं होते. जैसे आपके पास एक प्यारी कमीशन है, नेशनल कमीशन फॉर वुमेन. वहां पर देयर वाज अ वुमन चेयरपर्सन. मैंगलोर पब केस हुआ था. मैंगलोर पब में some women were molested by some man, and she was like, आप गए क्यों पब में? And basically she blamed the women themselves. Why you went to the pub? पब में जाओगे तो molest हो गई. तो this is, देखिए, National Commission for Women should have talked on behalf of women against the male patriarchy, but she has talked in favor of the male against the woman. It depends upon who run the system. Same thing can become good or same thing can become bad. Very simple. देखिए, इट ऑल डिपेंड्स अपॉन अ पर्सन. जैसे मैं पॉलिटिशियन को मिल जाती होगी, लिंक होगा. जैसे मैं आपको बता देता हूँ, फॉर एग्जांपल आई हैव सीन दिस. आई थिंक बस में देयर वाज अ बस, एंड बस में देयर वाज अ पुलिस ऑफिसर, एसएचओ का यूपी का. उन्हें तो लगता है कि सब कुछ फ्री है हमारे लिए, तो ही एंटर्ड देयर. अब टीटी था, सॉरी जो भी टिकट वाला था बस में. ही वाज लाइक, टिकट कहाँ है? एंड ही वाज लाइक, कौन सी टिकट? एंड देन जो उसने बोला उस पुलिस वाले को, इतना सुनाया, इतना सुनाया, इतना सुनाया. मैं होता, मैं तो पानी पानी हो जाता, मैं डूब जाता. मैं कहता यहीं पे गड्ढा हो जाए, मैं घुस जाऊं इसमें. ठीक. एनीवे, बट ही वाज अ थिक स्किन मैन. तो ऐसा हो जाता है. अब उसकी मर्जी, नहीं दे रहा टिकट, कर लो कुछ करना है तो. बट नॉनदलेस, अब्यूज ऑफ पावर शुड नॉट हैपन. एनीवे, लास्ट स्कीम देख लेते हैं जल्दी से. पीएम जनमान. दिस इज योर, आई थिंक GS3 में है, गवर्नमेंट इंटरवेंशन इन वेरियस सेक्टर्स, और GS पेपर 1 में सोशल इश्यूज. दोनों में कवर होती है विद रिस्पेक्ट टू ट्राइबल्स ऑफ इंडिया. ठीक है. तो प्लीज रिमेंबर पीएम जनमान. दिस इज अ स्कीम डिजाइन टू केटर द नीड ऑफ PVTG. You have to remember this term for prelims. Particularly vulnerable tribal groups. Let's understand what is this scheme. Basically, it aims to provide housing, drinking water, sanitation, education, healthcare, nutrition, road, telecom, sustainable livelihood. मतलब जो भी आप इमेजिन कर सकते हो वो सब है. होगा कितना किसे पता. आगे देखते हैं. It is an initiative. It is a part of, remember, it is a part of Pradhan Mantri PVTG development mission. So it's a sub scheme kind of thing. Now comes the question, what is PVTG? PVTG क्या होता है? PVTG is a subset of tribal community. The concept evolved from primitive tribal groups category established on the recommendation of Debar Commission. So Debar Commission recommended that within tribes, there are some sub-tribes which are so deprived, so backward. The features यहाँ लिखे होंगे मेरे ख्याल में characteristics में. They have next page पर characteristic में लिखा हुआ है. They are characterized by stagnant or declining population, pre-agricultural technologies, extremely low literacy, and subsistence-based economy. And they have a very small population of 1,000 to 1 lakh. So these are some tribes within a broad category called tribes, which are backward, deprived, and their population is reducing at a rapid pace. So for that, the commission, Debar Commission said, make a separate category. So मान लेते हैं you are dedicating 100 rupees to tribals. Out of that, 10 rupees shall be earmarked for PVTGs. बात समझ में आया? It will basically take care of a very deprived group among a bigger category called tribals. ठीक है? Please remember this. तो ये prelims level factor, you must remember that as of now we have around 52 tribal groups as PVTG. ठीक है? You have to remember this. नहीं, sorry, 52 were based on Dhaibar committee, 75 है. Right now we have 75 PVTGs recognized in around 18 states and 1 union territories, and they have roughly population of 20 lakh. तो prelims के लिए चीजें याद रखिएगा कि there is only 18 state and 1 UT where you have PVTGs, and there are around 75 PVTGs which are of population of 28 lakhs, and which has the highest one? Odisha. So these are prelims level fact you must remember. ठीक है, बाकी challenges तो वही है हमारे पास, that main मैंने आपको बताया था, tribals have a very unique way. Tribals have a very unique way of living. They do not believe in the imposed modernity as we believe. This capitalist, private-led modernity. They still believe in jungles, land, as they even worship land, they even worship forest. So, इसीलिए a major chunk of tribals development fund, कुछ tribes जो होती है ना, which have taken advantage, they are taking advantage generation after generation. जैसे आप रिजर्वेशन में देख लीजिए, रिजर्वेशन में यूपीएससी पर्टिकुलर में एससी एसटी कम्युनिटी से जो क्वालिफाई करते हैं, मेजॉरिटी ऑफ देम हैव ऑलरेडी यूज्ड रिजर्वेशन. उनकी फैमिली में कोई ना कोई आईएएस होता है, कोई ना कोई होता है. तो दे फैमिली, जैसे तीन राबी का प्राइम केस है. हर parents were IAS officer, grandparents worked in ISRO or something, they all use reservation, she used reservation. So problem ये हो गया है, same is with every category, whether EWS, OBC, SC, ST, सब में क्या हो गया है, there is one category or one community, some caste within these categories are using the benefit of reservation generation after generation after generation, removing the other people from the benefits. तो इसीलिए ट्राइबल्स के केस में वी क्रिएटेड पीवीटीजी. क्लियर है? चलिए, बाकी गवर्नमेंट एफर्ट्स और भी हैं, देख लो एक बार. पीवीटीजी डेवलपमेंट प्लान है आपका, प्रधानमंत्री जनजातीय विकास मिशन, जनजातीय मीन्स ट्राइबल्स, एंड प्रधानमंत्री आदि आदर्श ग्राम योजना, इंटीग्रेटेड ट्राइबल डेवलपमेंट प्रोजेक्ट, ट्राइबल सब प्लान, फॉरेस्ट राइट्स एक्ट, SC ST एक्ट एंड पैसा एक्ट. इनमें से आपका सारे इंपॉर्टेंट है. सारे नाम मैं एक बार चेक कर रहा था, सारे इंपॉर्टेंट है. तो आई हैव लिस्टेड बिकॉज करंट अफेयर्स में दिस लिमिटेशन ऑफ टाइम, you have to know all these provision in detail. Particularly PESA Act you will study in polity, SC ST Act you will again study in polity, Forest Rights Act you have to study separately in environment, Eklavya Model School, Tribal Subplan, Adigram, and Tribal Integrated Plan. These you have to study in GS paper 1, your society, and GS paper 3, government intervention for various sectors of the economy. ठीक है? आई थिंक खत्म या कुछ बचा है जिंदगी में हमारे? अच्छा, ये लिखा है ये डिफरेंट क्यों है? डिफरेंट इसलिए है क्योंकि ये मोदी जी की लॉन्च की दी हुई है. चलो खत्म. ठीक है, जस्ट गो थ्रू इट, यू विल गेट इट. कुछ खास नहीं है. Anyway, with this note we shall end today's class, and happy new year to everyone. जाओ enjoy करो. अब मिलते हैं अगले साल सबसे. बाय बाय. मंडे को मतलब छुट्टी है. हाँ, क्लासेस नहीं है। मंडे को छुट्टी है, क्लासेस नहीं है, कोई सी नहीं है। मंडे को क्लासेस नहीं है कोई सी भी। बच्चों ने बहुत डिमांड करी तो उन्होंने फुलफिल कर दी। Yes, very welcome everyone. Have a nice day. We'll meet again. Happy New Year. Enjoy, be safe and पढ़ते रहिए, मिलते हैं फिर। Yes, Happy New Year, Rahul, sweetie. चलिए, बाय बाय।